I think it was both Brendan and I where we wanted to find out if we're going to tell the life story of Jesus, what is a very unique way to tell it? And we really felt like coming through the eyes, the lens of a young boy, make it to John the Apostle. And it's kind of that coming age film. So I think that was kind of what both of us really felt like, hey, if we can figure that out and let the audience become John. So as he seeks, searching the Messiah, he finds him, but kind of starts to question, like, is he really going to save us? Is he going to do this or that? You know, and that's the audience journey. And so that one was, I think, probably what we really honed in on.
Do you think sometimes the child's voice can get lost in scripture? Because there's instances we see where Jesus, of course, interacts with kids, but do you think their perspective is sort of lost? Because surely they would have seen what Jesus was doing alongside the adults over time.
Well, it's interesting as well because we read scripture from our modern lens as well, and not realizing that a lot of actual people in scripture were in their teens. I mean, likely a lot of the disciples were teenagers themselves. And so the way that we think of children is different from the way that the ancient world thought about children. We miss out on realizing just how much Jesus did speak to children, as opposed to distinctly 20-something-year-old and up, adults.
When you're creating a movie that lets you look at Jesus through the lens of John, what did you learn from seeing his perspective of who Jesus was and what life was like at that time?
For me, I think the biggest perspective that working on this film is I personally have a relationship with Jesus and I've gone through a lot of things, but to look at him as a friend. So when we watch John become a friend of Jesus, that was something that really hit me differently because in my mind, I think we all think, oh, he's our friend. But when I saw it portrayed out and how we did the movie, that really resonated. And I think that's probably one of the most important things we'd want people to walk away with, other than hearing his whole life about Jesus, is he's your friend.
And talk us through the animation process of this, because the choice to do 2D animation, it's so beautifully done. It's also different now, I suppose, from what a lot of children's movies and context seems to be. It's a lot more of that like 3D kind of styling. Why did you guys go with 2D animation?
The biggest thing for Brennan and I, we love 2D animation.
Pretty straightforward, yeah.
We just love it. It's a very enduring, enchanting style of animation. It's very non-threatening, and also it goes back to those days of the 90s where this Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, or going into Prince of Egypt and all that. There's just some type of nostalgia feel to it that we want to bring back. So we thought, hey, if we're going to retell the story of Jesus, let's go back to that style. And Brendan, you share this to what the
Yeah, it's also very pragmatic, and it's a missional film. I mean, this is something that we're going to be using for 10, 20, 30 years to share the story of Jesus with people around the world. And we wanted it to remain beautiful. We wanted it to be a classic that would stay around and wouldn't look dated. And hand-drawn art looks beautiful always. Whereas a lot of CG animation looks dated within 3 to 5 years, depending on how much is put into it. And so we wanted to make something that could last. And we believe that 2D was the right medium for that.
But I feel like in recent years, there is such, like from a Hollywood perspective, TV shows that are around at the moment, there feels like there is such kind of an increased interest in the life of Jesus, stories around him, stories around that time in history. Why do you think that fascination is building?
Man, I mean, look at all the stuff like you're saying came out in 2025 with The Chosen, The Last Supper, The King of Kings, and in our film and other ones coming up. I think people are searching. We're coming into if you look at the whole world, it's just a lot of dark things happening. There's there's something connecting them to want to look. And that's why I think people are really reaching out to, like The Chosen. If you think about it worldwide, the majority of that audience are non-believers. There's something that is attracting them. There's something that they want to find out. But what I think I hope we did with our film, what you've seen with The Chosen, is people can relate to some of those characters. You've never seen the disciples where you could portray like, oh, I can relate to Matthew, or I could relate, and that's what we were trying to do with our film too. So I think making that connection that's relatable to them. But I just think with what's going on in the world, people are looking for hope. When we were designing Jesus and that stuff, making him very approachable looking, making accessible, and through the animation of film, really showing his vulnerability, showing him joking and laughing, because we wanted to show that human side of him. that he could relate to us and understand us because he was human and that, but also when it came to the moment to step into what he was called to do, and so it was important for us, this even how we, portrayed him and animated him, all the little nuances that he could connect with the audience and that.